Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a really long time since I have posted a video. In fact, I have already finished my first semester of nursing school and I am so glad to be on a little bit of a break, but I'm here and I want to make some videos for you guys. Now, I'll be honest, whenever I was in school, I wasn't really sure what to make content about just because I was just learning the ropes. And so I really am glad that I didn't try to push myself to make a whole bunch of content, or any for that matter, aside from like my first day of school, because I really wouldn't have known what to say. But now that I've gotten through that first semester, I feel like I have some insight that I think could be helpful. So I did want to sit down and make this video and talk to you about things that nobody could have prepared me for my first semester of nursing school. I also want to take a moment to just thank you guys. I have seen all of your sweet comments on my videos. I do see them. I really, really appreciate you guys. So let's go ahead and get into the things that no one could have prepared me for my first semester of nursing school. The very first one is becoming a procrastinator. Now, I am not a procrastinator. Whenever I started my prerequisite classes, I was way ahead of schedule for everything. I was just one of those people. If I knew that I had an assignment that needed to get done, I was on it. I was turning in those assignments several days, sometimes even a week ahead of time, because if I had the time to do it, I would just sit down, I would finish it, and I would turn it in. And it was really nice because I never had to stress about it, because I was confident in the fact that I turned stuff in on time all the time. So I really never had to stress about an assignment. That changed in nursing school. That changed. And it wasn't because I just suddenly got super lazy. I wouldn't call it that. I still don't consider myself to be like a huge procrastinator, but instead of turning things in like a week ahead of time, things would get turned in like a day ahead of time. And for me, that's a big deal because I would be stressing about it. And I would find myself putting off assignments to the next day or even the next week because I really just needed some time to breathe. And I think the cause of that is that in nursing school, pretty much every assignment is a high stake assignment. There are some little ones that are kind of insignificant but still have to be done. But there are several assignments and things that you have to complete that are like a make or break kind of thing. And so my head was constantly in this space of, if you don't do this assignment, or like if you get a poor grade, you could get kicked out of the program. Or if you don't pass this check off with flying colors, you could get kicked out of the program. Or if you don't pass the check off at all, you could get kicked out. If you don't pass your dosage calculation exam, you could get kicked out. And so it was just this constant fight or flight kind of thing where, although my school does give its students like second and sometimes third chances on certain things, I did not even want that to be a possibility. I had fought and worked so hard to get into this program in the first place. I wasn't going to let my inability to complete an assignment or my inability to pass a checkoff be the thing that held me back from continuing in the program. Does that make sense? And so eventually, as we got towards the end of the semester, I was drained. I was so drained, and it wasn't even that these assignments are particularly hard. There was not a nursing school assignment that I just thought was absolutely impossible. There were several that were difficult, that were tough, but none of them are impossible on their own. But they can seem really difficult when you're worn down from all these assignments and all these checkoffs and everything else. But now I know, and with this information for next semester, I am going to just have to, I don't even know what the solution is, but I guess just expecting it is part of the solution. I am expecting that it's going to be a constant influx of assignments that are really important. And the sooner I can get the kind of lesser important ones done, then the more time I'll have to focus on the ones that are really important. The second thing no one could have prepared me for were the types of questions. Now, I've watched a lot of nursing school videos on YouTube. I still watch a lot of nursing school videos on YouTube. And people do talk about this quite often. You know, they talk about how the questions that you see in nursing school are not the same that you have seen in other classes, and they're absolutely right about that, but it still didn't prepare me, and that's no one's fault other than the fact that I really feel like to get the sense of how these questions are and how they're going to influence the way that you take tests and the way that you study is kind of something that you just have to go through personally. And here's what I mean by that. Nursing school questions are pretty much all situational. You're never going to have a nursing school question that asks you what the normal lab value of calcium is or something, you know, that you're not going to have questions like that. It's all going to be situational. They're going to, for example, present you with a patient that has these symptoms and these blood values and these lab values, and you'll have to figure out the correct solution. Or do you do something? Do you do nothing? Do you call somebody? Do you just let it go because it's normal? And so these kind of situational questions on their own don't really seem like a big deal. However, whenever you've sat through a whole semester of lectures, of watching YouTube videos, of reading, of making your own notes, you have all of this information in your head. You know that you've heard about, you know, this particular lab value before, or a patient that's exhibiting these kinds of symptoms. But whenever you're actually sitting there and you're having a situational question after situational question and on and on and on, your brain starts to hurt. Your brain starts to hurt because you're trying to analyze the questions while considering basically everything that you've learned from A&P until now, and it gets really overwhelming. So I wouldn't say it's the questions being presented as a situation that's a problem. It's all of it. It's having so many situational questions and having so much information and having to really critically think about these questions that no one could have prepared me for that. I was not ready. I had an idea, but once you're sitting there and you're taking that exam and you've read about 20 different patients already and all their different symptoms, you're like, okay, do I even know how to read anymore? That's kind of where I was at. The next thing is going to be about how no one could have prepared me for what I was learning in class and how to translate that into actual patient care practice. Before getting into nursing school, I had zero patient care experience. I've had a lot of public speaking experience, but I've never worked in a hospital. I've never worked in a doctor's office. I've never done anything like that. I've never had to interact with a patient. And so I would go to lecture and I would go to lab and I would learn these different skills and I would learn these different theories and, you know, things about nursing in general, but I was never prepared for how it was going to be in real life practice, walking into a patient's room for the very first time and having no idea what to do. How do I even talk to them? How do I even, you know, get in the door and start this conversation? And part of that is possibly my instructor. I don't feel like there was a great, more time could have been devoted to just telling me how to even talk to a patient, because I had no idea. With the zero experience I had no idea what to say to that patient the very first time I walked into the room. Now, when we're practicing nursing skills and things like that, I know about knocking on the door and introducing yourself and the hand hygiene and the privacy. I know how to do all that. But when you have an actual human being sitting there in front of you that needs your help, the dialogue was something that I really had no idea how to even start. And I consider myself to be a very sociable person. People don't make me feel uncomfortable, but when I don't even know what to say, I don't know how to approach them, then I get really nervous and I kind of panic a little bit because I feel lost. I feel lost and I feel kind of dumb because they're looking at me as somebody who's supposed to have the knowledge to help them. And although there's a lot of knowledge in here about stuff that I've learned, I don't know how to translate that into actual patient care. So that kind of segues me into another point, which is I couldn't have been prepared for dreading clinical. Clinical was the one thing I was so excited about before the semester started. I was so ready to start clinical. I wanted to go to a hospital or just any kind of patient care facility. I wanted to be with the people. I wanted to help the people. I wanted to do the nursing things. But the first day that we got there, because mind you, the first 8 weeks of class, we were at the school and we were learning like dosage calculation stuff. We were watching lots of videos. We were practicing how to take vital signs and things like that. So by the time we actually got to the care facility that we were at, my professor basically said, go find a patient and help them. And I'm thinking, what? You want me to do what? And so that was really nerve-wracking. And again, part of that could have been just my instructor's style didn't really work with me. But based on things that I was hearing from other students, that seemed to be like an across-the-board kind of thing. Many instructors were basically telling their students to go off and find something to do and then having no idea what to do because we've never been in a situation like this before. Now, fortunately, I had a few of my classmates who have given patient care before. They've worked in doctor's offices or are like a patient care assistant or technician or something along those lines. And so I was able to follow them. I made friends and I followed them and I was able to see what they did. And that definitely helped me. Seeing it modeled by a classmate, I kind of got a better idea for what I was supposed to do. But I'll be honest, that first clinical day actually at the facility it was awful. It was so awful, and I had been so excited to go there and start doing something. But I even sat there after I got out and I was like, can I do this? Is this something that I'm even good at? Because right now I'm feeling very inadequate. Right now I'm feeling like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm a brand new student. I'm brand new to patient care and I'm being told to just find someone and do something. I have no idea what that means. So anyway, as I watched my classmates and their interactions with patients, I did get more comfortable as the weeks went on, but I did not leave this semester feeling confident. And you hear a lot about how nursing school can only teach you so much, and the majority of what you learn as a nurse, you're going to learn on the floor. And I get that, but at the same time, if I am paying money to learn how to be a nurse or to be taught how to be a nurse, I really would have appreciated some kind of bridge. Some kind of bridge that connects the dots between this is what you're learning at the school and this is how to translate that into real life patient care. Because without that, I felt very insecure about what I was doing. It was disheartening. But I guess if that's you, or I guess if at any point in your nursing school career, like in the first semester, if you feel like that, it does get better. I can tell you that it does get better because it's kind of like a trial by fire thing. However, you kind of learn the ropes a bit and you kind of figure it out. And so that makes it a little bit easier. But no one could have prepared me for how clinical was going to go. No one could have prepared me for the disconnect between the school and the real life practice. The final thing that I was not prepared for when I started this semester was the toll it was going to take on my family life. Now, I have heard this from other people on YouTube. I know that this is not an uncommon thing that is discussed. However, you don't really know how that's going to impact you specifically and your specific family and your individual children until it actually happens and you kind of see the aftermath, and it's like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Like, no YouTube video could have prepared me for it. And like, for example, I have 2 young children. I have 2 young boys, and I'm a single mother. And my kids were very much used to me being at home. And even when I was taking my prerequisites because of COVID, I was still at home. And so I wasn't gone. But having to do nursing school, I was gone. And I don't want to sound ungrateful. I'm very glad that my school was open and I actually have the opportunity to go up there and learn the things that I need to learn. But my kids recognized that there was a change. My kids recognized that something in our family dynamic was not quite the same because mommy was gone and they were being babysat by my mother a lot more often. But it's one of those things where it's like, as a mother, as a parent, you know that you're doing the best for your family, but you also recognize that your children are not getting the attention that they used to get from you because you have so much to do. And there is no way to fully counteract that, considering the fact that you are gone at school now and you have to spend time studying and things like that. So at the end of the day, time from them is being cut short so that you can go to school. And even though in the long run it's going to benefit all of you, it's still hard. And I could not have been prepared for how that was going to affect my individual children. I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is it's hard. And I don't want to sugarcoat it for you, and I don't want to make it sound better than it is, because there have been a lot of tears shed both from my children and from me, because we are just trying to find a new normal here, and we recognize that there is a change in our dynamic because mom is gone more often. And so it doesn't dissuade me from wanting to continue pursuing this. If anything, I have to see it through now, because otherwise all of those tears would have been for nothing. And yeah, so not to leave that on a depressing note, but that is another thing there was no way I could have been prepared for. So anyway, guys, those are all of the things that I can think of at this moment that I just had no idea what to expect before I started this first semester. Now that the first semester is over, I have a much better idea of what to expect for next semester. I'm still very excited and very happy that I'm in this program. I'm learning so much. I am doing so much. It really is cool. I guess we'll see what surprises are in store for the next semester. But with that being said, that's all I have for this video today, guys. I have lots of ideas. I've got lots of content. I've got lots of things I want to work on. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.